Okay, you ready?
Yep.
We're rolling.
1, 2, 3, 4. We were just kids with nothing to lose and nowhere to call home. But we had these songs and we had these dreams. So we threw it all in the back of an old van and just started driving. Our destination? Sound City. Watching the world through a windshield, there's no looking back. We left everything behind. When you're young, you're not afraid of what comes next. You're excited by it. We were driving a van that could break down at any moment. Going on tours that could be canceled at any moment. And playing music with people who could disappear at any moment. We had no idea that the next 16 days were going to change our world forever. But I remember pulling into the parking lot and thinking, really? This is Sound City?
You know, it's weird, like, when you walk into Sound City, you either love it or you hate it.
Looks kind of dumpy.
It's a shithole.
Everything was secondhand.
It was something of a time warp, I think, or something.
Brown shag carpet on the wall, that's the kind of thing that you would do to your van.
It was like, well, the place is already kind of trashed, so anything goes, you know?
It was dirty. Didn't really feel like I wanted to sit on any of the furniture.
You could record there and not come back for 15 years and walk in, and it's exact same as the last time you were there.
The parking lot used to flood, and it used to make a wave that came up the hallway of Sound City.
Sound City was like, you know, you could put your cigarette on the floor.
A bottle of Jack Daniels got spilled all over the carpet. Who cares? It's Sound City, who cares?
I would say you could, you know, piss in the corner, nobody would complain.
It was just a little more fucked up than I thought it should be. But walking down the hallway and seeing all of those platinum records on the walls.
Tom Petty.
Fleetwood Mac. Rick Springfield.
Rick Springfield.
Neil Young, man.
Cheap Trick.
The Chili Peppers.
Rob Halford.
Pat Benatar. Kansas.
Guns N' Roses.
9 Inch Nails.
Nevermind.
Foreigner.
Slayer, Rat.
Johnny Cash. Carl Perkins.
Metallica.
REO Speedwagon.
Michael McDonald.
Mick Fleetwood.
Buckingham Nicks.
Stevie Nicks.
Masters of Reality. Frank Black.
Wolf Spain.
Rick Rubin.
Caius.
Weezer.
Dude, how many fucking amazing albums have been made there?
Vincent Price, Telly Savalas. We would record anything. Anybody walk in the door could pay the bill.
Tom is this big, tall, lanky, goomery kind of guy that just fell off the turnip truck. He wants you to think that anyway.
First time I was ever walked in a recording studio, first time I'd ever even seen one. I was with a West Virginia holding company that was buying little businesses. Joe Gottfried and another guy had started Sound City in 1969. He was actually the vocalist for the U.S. Army. When he was in the Army, he was stationed at a hotel in Manhattan. A friend of his, Joe Leahy, who was a big band leader and had done music for CBS, and they were the two main guys in the studio when I came in 1970. Keith Olsen was the chief engineer.
The only reason why the studio business survived was because the building ownership was Tom, and Tom would not foreclose on them.
They were about 1 week away from being closed by the IRS. They owed taxes. It was kind of chaos, to be honest with you. But there was an opportunity to get into the entertainment business.
This is Beatleland, formerly known as Britain, where an epidemic called Beatlemania has seized the teenage population, especially females.
Big plot at the end of the rainbow is signing the next Beatle. We'd had $1 zillion, you know.
Hi-fi and stereo equipment created an industry with an annual income today of $2.5 billion.
Somebody at Sound City came up with this idea. We could start a record company.
So that was my goal, to produce some records and have a hit record and make a lot of money. That was the whole reason we bought it.
Sound City, I was funky. It was in the Valley, but we only used the Valley to get to Hollywood. The Valley was just this flat expanse of too many houses already, you know, so it was like kind of not happening at all.
Neil Young pulled in fast in a very old car. Smoke billowing out of every window. Behind him was two LAPD officers, guns drawn, you know.
Okay, move over to the rear of the car. Place your hands on the trunk.
I attracted police a lot because of the cars that I was driving. And I didn't have a license, you know, because I was Canadian and I wasn't even supposed to be there.
About 5 minutes later, they just got in their cars and drove off.
I made the record in my house. Most of it I did in my house. And then we went to Sound City with Briggs, my producer, and we put down a piano song called Birds there. Then we did the vocals, and then they sounded so good that I said, well, hell, let's just sing everything. So it's really a hybrid record.
My dad and Joe were partners in crime. They were very close. They were thick as thieves.
Tom was like the business guy and stuff like that, but Joe was the heart of it all, really.
The sweetest guy in the universe. Absolutely one of the nicest, truest people I've ever known.
He wasn't a guy in a suit who was counting money and just trying to rip off as many musicians as he could. That wasn't his thing. He loved the fact that bands were coming in and making great records there.
Joe was always like positive, more optimistic. Always the next big thing's going to be out there.
Joe gave me time to learn and to hone what I do. He was quite a guy.
When we bought the studio, we were struggling for a year or two, and we could see we couldn't just get the premier acts. You needed state-of-the-art equipment to get the top acts with the top budgets. So it was my goal to do that.
This guy, Rupert Neve, designed these next-generation consoles. I had flown to England, and I saw one once, and they were like this, you know, built like, you know, brick shit house.
He was, you know, a genius engineer. There's only 4 like this in the world, and this is the only one that was custom ordered from the factory by Keith.
There's just something about the Neve sound that my ear has always been attuned to.
They're mathematically crisp and very, very good. They're just very solid. It's like a tank or something.
The Neve thing is, there just weren't that many made because they're so handmade.
This Neve board that you talk about, you know, this is not my world. You know, engineers have to spend like hours on the kick drum, the sound. Please, I would rather have a blood transfusion. But I do remember that there was something different about the sound of this board. And then, of course, everybody was, oh my God, it's a Neve board. I'll never forget them saying it.
A recording console is like the center of the spaceship. If you're gonna fly to Mars, you gotta have something with all the master controls.
It looks like, you know, the Enterprise on steroids from a long time ago.
A desk is like a giant stereo, except instead of doing bass, middle, and treble, it's like you can do that on each drum, you know, each mic, each thing.
All of the microphones in the studio are routed into that console. From there, you can change EQ, add effects, change the levels, and that goes into the tape machine where it's recorded.
This board, if you put a fader up and turn the mic pre up and somebody hits a tom-tom or a snare drum, it sounds great. It sounds wide open, it sounds huge. If you turn the mic pre up too loud and it distorts, still sounds great.
That's analog. It's how it sounds. Especially Neves, you know. I mean, everything is just better. You know, the human voice sounds better. When you got harmonies going together, they kind of meld